Hello guys, hope you enjoyed that presentation. Now we're going to be having Francina Sharma from Blackline Safety. So just to give you a little bit of background, Francina here is the Director Business Intelligence, leads the custom data analytics team at Blackline Safety. And Blackline Safety, if you don't know, it's a company that focuses on worker safety. She has experience building and leading scientific technical teams from ground up, focusing on transforming business requirements to leveraging data driven actionable insights, and also identifying new targets and monitoring safety and app compliance in clinical trials, health, and tech operations. So now let's give it up for Francina.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for being present here. I know this is the last time it's been a full intensive day, and this presentation is going to be no less. It's going to be a full jam-packed thing, so please hold on. Um, I'd like to thank the organizers and sponsors as well for making this possible. So let's just rush through. I have a lot of slides. If you see me rushing, if you have any questions, please stop me or you can ask me questions later. So for the agenda, I'm going to briefly speak about my background, and then I'll go over into the introduction to Blackline Safety. It's emerging as a leader in connected safety solutions. And then I will speak a little bit about the overview of reporting and analytics, because the way this is set up, if an individual, if an organization purchases a device, it comes with the essential analytics attached to it, so that it makes it meaningful and it gives you a whole rundown of insights that you can draw from these devices. So I'm going to show you examples of these reports and the insights. I may not go through all of the reports, all of the pages in the reports, but I will point out to a few insights so that you can understand the value of it. And then I'll go through the live demonstration. I have 3 reports. I hope we have enough time for that. And then finally, I'll take you through the big picture use cases. These are real use cases that happen and mostly monitored by the testimonials by different people. So let's get started. For my background, I said I won't spend too much time. I have a PhD in biophysics and biostatistics. I worked extensively in data management, analytics, data engineering, and bioinformatics, because I actually have my background is biology, so I did a lot of bioinformatics in clinical trials and all of that kind of stuff. And I have close to 25 years of experience working in academia, industry, both pharmaceutical and the tech field. So let's move on. So over the last decade, the way that we communicate in the world has changed drastically. If you see today, smartphones are the means of connectivity everywhere. But then if we look at the industrial and the marketing work sites, this is not the case, because in most of these places, manual systems are in place, which means that getting into the safety sector is a big deal, because people haven't actually focused on it. And if they have focused, then they have to go further down to make sure that this actually works. So Blackline Safety, our main theme essentially is to make sure that every worker actually has the confidence to get the job done and return home safe. By the end of the presentation, I think you should agree with what we are trying to do. But then for now, let's just move on. This is just a brief slide giving you the statistics of the company. We have over 1,900 clients serving around 70 plus global countries. We monitor and maintain and have analyzed about 195 plus billion data points. And the important point is we've actually resolved about a little over 8 million emergency alerts, which means we've saved at least so many of those lives. So every device comes with analytic insights. What I mean by that is when you purchase a device, you actually get all of this support coming in the form of product analytics reports. We just separate that as product and custom because custom analytics is something that is created, customized for each client because one size doesn't fit all. So connected safety solution in Blackline basically is a cloud-based software platform. It starts the process basically starts when the device actually gets turned on and sends the messages via the cloud to the Blackline Safety Cloud. In case of emergency, when there is any high gas alert or no motion alert or fall detection or things like that, what happens is that the device actually triggers an alert, and it does two things. One, it gives out a very loud noise, so the employee inadvertently should leave that place so that he's taken to safety. The second thing it does is it actually contacts the Blackline monitoring service, which means that in case it's a fall detection or no motion or the employee is actually unconscious, then this second formula contacts the supervisors and make sure that they actually understand that somebody is in need of help, and then help is rescued. The next slide actually will illustrate what I mean. And apart from this, we have these analytics and the Blackline Live portal services that actually show the real-time data as well for you to monitor. So I wanted to focus on this slide a little bit because this is a scenario that we see in a toxic gas exposure situation. So traditionally, historically, what was happening is when there is a gas spill, here I've just mentioned the hydrogen gas spill. This is a true story, by the way. It's like as soon as the gas exposure occurs, the gas detector goes off. But then what happens is there's nobody close by to hear it. So 2 hours later, every employee who's working as a lone worker is actually asked to check in. Because the check-in is missed, the supervisor is alerted, and the supervisor is concerned and sends out a search team. So in 3.5 hours, they discover bodies, essentially of the worker that could have been rescued. Now, with connected safety solution, what is happening is this response time is drastically reduced to minutes rather than hours. So in this case, what happens is on the 0 second the gas exposure occurs, 0 1, there are two signals happening. One, that the device that alerts the employee, which immediately sends out and runs out for safety. At the same time, it results in all the evacuation of the rest of the employees that are close by. Two, it actually triggers the Blackline monitoring service. So the monitoring service contacts the supervisor, and the supervisor, based on the condition, like looking at the intensity of the condition, responders arrive at the situation, and within 5 minutes, the person is rescued and back to safety. So this is just to show how important it is to actually have real-time connected safety solutions in place for worker safety analysis. So the analytics actually gives you a holistic view. I'm not going to go over, I was planning to do that, but in the interest of time, it's already 10 minutes, so I'm just going to run through. So this slide is basically giving you an inside picture of how data is processed in Blackline. Excuse me. So basically, the device sends data through geo-notifications and alerts to the cloud. The data is stored there under all principles of governance, that is, as per the regulations of retention, encryption, and residency requirements. And then from there, within seconds, it's available on the Blackline Live portal, which is available for access for all the device users, as in anyone who purchases the device, so that you can see, you can manage the fleet management, you can have a communication, and you can monitor all of your devices, or all the other employees. If it's an org admin or a health safety associate, HSE manager, or a safety professional, they can actually go onto site and see who's wearing and where are they, what is the gas condition, whether or not they are safe or accounted for. Now, apart from that, data is still curated into the analytic pipeline, and it is distributed into two streams of work, SSRS and Power BI. From the SSRS side, we have an email automation that kicks out reports. Most of these are customized, but there can be standard reports as well that go out as per the customer's requirement on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, or bi-weekly, whichever. It's a customized thing. And this can account for anything that is not taken care of by the product report, which is supposed to take care of all of those things. In the next few slides, I will just show you a few of the product reports, so you know how these insights are gathered and utilized for safety purposes. I'm going to skip this slide. So as I was talking, there are different streams of reporting that's operational for the Power BI interactive reports. These are in the portal. So what it means is that the users have to set up user access and accounts. So all of the privacy things, everything is taken care of. It's all per governance. No data is missing, no data is misused, and everything else is kept in place as is required as per regulations. And you can set your own pace. You can go and take a look at those reports. You can analyze the reports as and when you require. And mind you, these reports are all very extensive. Each of the report actually has about 4 or 5 different tabs and different pages, each one giving enough information for you to be able to answer any question you may have regarding the device activity while at work and off work, and then be able to draw conclusions, draw insights, and make sure that if safety has missed in any shape or form, that you can bring them back. So let's go to, okay, this is just to show that access is available anywhere, which means that as long as you have a tablet or an iPad, PC, or a cell phone, and you have access to the client portal, you'll be able to see all of these reports. You're able to see the Blackline Live portal as and when it occurs. This is a map page. It shows you the GPS coordinates. It shows you exactly how the device is moving and what is the gas situation, what kind of environmental conditions are there, what's your battery charge, and how well you're doing around that circumstance. And then if you go into the menu and then click, you will go into the portal, which is called the analytics portal, which will give you the reports. I'm going to show you now is what you see, and you can draw insights and then have actionable items on your menu that you can use so that you can actually go in and save or make things better for increasing productivity. So let's take a look at a few reports. Now this report is mainly for portal administration, org admins, and things of those people, because this is about the fleet management. If you look at big organizations, they have tons of devices, like thousands of devices, and you're supposed to technically have all the users use these devices, which means that these devices, A, have to be compliant, B, have to have the firmware upgraded, and C, make sure that they are worn at all times when they are at work. So in order to make sure that the compliance and the firmware grades are maintained, instead of going and digging in at each and every device or asking them whether or not, this report actually gives you a clear picture about how many people are actually upgraded, what are the devices, what is their current firmware, and then you can go directly and ask them exactly to download and upgrade the firmware. So that will be taken care of. Now this report serves 2 purposes. It's called the usage and compliance report. It's also included. I said included because it's one of the product reports that comes with the purchase of the device. So this report not only gives you the device activity, the usage of device, and the device user information, along with the lat longs and the time and exposure of gas that they've had so far. It also gives you the compliance standards. It goes 2 steps forward, and then it actually predicts when the calibration is due, whether or not the cartridge is working properly, and then have you done your bump test, or when is your next bump test. So it actually pushes notifications saying that this device needs to be bumped today, or this has to be calibrated tomorrow or day after. Otherwise, it will not be performing optimally as it should be. So basically, it saves so much of time for people who are administrators at work, drawing these insights directly from these reports. And mind you, I'm just showing one page each of each report. Each of these can be drilled down to the lowest granularity that you can actually offer. Now, here, there are two stories that I can actually tell, and these are true stories. So if you look on the left side, this is a combination of the events and the event map. These are two reports that also come as included reports. And if you look at the left side of the visual, it shows you it's sorted by events, and it shows you which is the highest event, highest occurring event. The event there is potential no motion. Now, when there is no motion, it really means that either the device user is not moving or the device has fallen down and he is unconscious. Whatever the situation, it is supposed to be a real dangerous situation. In this case, what happened was, as soon as there was no motion alert created, Blackline safety staff actually contacted the supervisor because the employee was not picking the phone. So it contacted the supervisor, and the supervisor went on rounds because they know that that particular device user was actually supposed to be on a work site, but the device GPS was showing in the office. So he actually walked by to see how many of those people were not using devices, but just going directly onto the work site. So in the next round of meetings and stuff, the supervisor actually called these people and told them that they have to use it. And they started using it because they did not know that they were actually not monitored. Because what they thought was they just turned on the device, so the device is on, so it's okay. It was very funny, but it is basically trying to give administration its own strength and make sure that the safety is maintained. Now, on the right side, that's another kind of story. This was about a union in an organization that did not want their privacy to be violated because of the GPS-enabled location devices. So they didn't want the company to actually monitor where they were going and how long they were staying, etc. So they made a case that they wouldn't be using these devices. So in this case, the supervisor and the safety officer, what they did was they actually took a screenshot of the heat map of the whole facility and put it around all the facility and told them that should you be walking around these regions, please be aware that you've been exposed to toxic gas and you could be actually in trouble. That made not only the higher officials make it a liability, make it a mandatory arrangement that everyone should take it. It also caused the union members to actually agree that safety is more important than privacy. So I'm just going to skip this one and that, but this is about the alert management. I will talk a little bit more about this one because I have it in the live demonstration. I'm sorry, am I running late? So this is about alert management. It actually tells you the aggregation of alerts per day within a month or within a week. And like I said, I will talk a little bit more when I'm actually showing the actual report. This alert management report, it's partitioned by the time of the day, and it also gives you what is the major alert at what time of the day that is occurring in a highest quantity. So essentially, there are a couple of pages, but in the other pages, it's actually helping the staff to be able to reschedule people under those conditions that they can presume that there will be higher alerts, so that safety can be maintained at all times. Now, as I had mentioned, apart from these reports that I had shown, the product reports, we also have customized reports because many clients have different kinds of wants and needs, and they want particular things that they actually want. So this particular company wanted to monitor the long-term exposure of gases to employees because this probably was a cause of a lot of concern by a lot of employees. So they asked us to create these kind of reports to make sure that we have short-term exposure limits and we target that limit as soon as the limit occurs. an alert used to go off on the device, so the employee used to leave that space and not come back until he's actually cleared that he is okay to go back into that state. I will go into detail in this report when I'm showing the live demonstration. This is a report normally used by um, anyone working in the oil and gas and construction industry will know that turnaround shutdowns are a major phenomenon in these kind of industries. It takes about 60 to 90 days, but it actually brings all of the activity that was going on into perspective. And getting productivity and efficiency during these projects is a big deal. I'll show you later on to show you what could happen and why these things are actually taken into consideration. 5 minutes? Oh, okay. This is an email automation report. It's a high-level report summary, but it just shows that red alerts are dangerous alerts. But every monthly meeting, the leaders of the group actually sat down and found out which places need more staff, and then got the staff moving. I'm just going to run. I just have 5 minutes. We'll just try to get to the live demonstration. So here, what I have done is I've actually opened this up just to save time. So this is the turnaround, shutdown, and productivity report that I was talking about. Now, the first page, it goes into 4 tabs like all of our reports do. The first page shows the map of the location and geofencing. Now, whoever is aware of this, you know that there are a lot of zones that they work on. There is a certain stretch of land. And then you have open space, you have a contractor trailer, you have support space, you have resting, smoke pits, rest areas, and so on and so forth. But it was very difficult to understand how much time each employee is actually spending in each of these things. So all we needed was an overlay of Google Map. We created zones. We geofenced all of those things. Any devices within those zones at any given point in time were supposed to be in context with that particular zone. So you know that if people were actually spending time there, that is what they were doing for. So the next page actually gives you the amount of time that was spent. Now, to just ease the process, we just gave a support and working area. As you can see, 60% of the time was spent in the support area and not the working area, which means that the time taken to complete the work was actually doubled. So these kind of reports, when they are used by the administrators, are able to reschedule and administer people so that they can actually come back and increase productivity. This can be drilled down to any level. You can go by day, by name, you can go by group, and then you can go by zone, whichever thing it is. And then it'll give you all the details that you need. So it actually filters and tells you how many people are there. It can go up to the level of the device user. It'll also tell you that this person actually worked only this many hours, although he said he worked 100%. So the next demonstration is the weekly alerts. I remember I skipped this graph, this report, because I'm going to go to the second page to show how these alerts are actually aggregated. Great. So you can see here, this area actually shows you where the alerts occur. So it gives you, we just aggregated this data to make sure that by week and each month, you can actually easily point out which day of the week is actually showing a lot of alerts. Now, if you look at this one, in August, Wednesday, it's showing 46 alerts. So if you just click on that one, you will actually get details of what kind of alert it is. The highest alert is a gas alert, and the next one is a gas sensor, and the next is a missed check-in alert, which could be related to the gas alert. And then you get all these message alerts and everything else. Now, if you go further down, you can actually see which person actually had these alerts, like 128 alerts. So you go back to the device user, and then you have a counseling session to see what exactly is happening and why is his device always exposed to gas. And then you're able to actually sort out the problem. Oh, sorry. This gives alert logs. It gives you all the information. There are actually calls as well. Sometimes in tricky situations, you have like when in dangerous situations when the blackline safety staff actually calls, and those calls also can be monitored and shown in here. Now, this one is a response ticket. It's an incident investigation, because as I had already mentioned, in these toxic gas exposures, you have a lot of mortalities and morbidities that go on. So, lots of times, people, the workers, end up suing, saying that we were not actually in that place, or our device wasn't working, or things of that sort. In order to get this investigation going, this document actually serves as an investigation. It serves as an evidence. It also shows that these devices were in that safety area or within that area that was actually being monitored as high gas exposure. It also gives you exactly how long it took for that device to get out of that high gas situation. Now, like I had mentioned, we have a call here. For example, if this device was in a state where it was a potentially high alert, what we call a red alert, then as I had said, the device will trigger an alert not only on a device end. Sometimes you can silence your alert so other people don't hear, so you continue staying there thinking that it's okay. But the alert is an alert. It triggers at the Blackline Safety Monitoring Office. So the Blackline office actually calls, and those calls can actually be available here. I don't know whether this volume works, but this call actually is from Blackline to a client. It will tell clearly, it will ask the reason, and it tells you exactly what it is. So in terms of incident investigation, this performs all of the requirements that you actually need. So I'm going to go very fast. It's almost done, but like I said, I'm going to show you the use cases of real testimonies of clients who have been saved using Blackline devices. So this use case is from a company that actually needed solution to protect loan workers because there were a lot of deaths on that site. So what happened was the loan worker actually suffered cardiac arrest, fell down and hit his head. The connected variable immediately triggered, and the monitoring people arrived. Response was within 2 seconds actually in this case, and then the worker will receive full support and survived. This one is a fuel spill that happened on a highway. So the fuel driver left the tanker unattended once the spill started to take place because it's a toxic gas, so he just fled. So the fast flowing spill actually was flooding through all of the roads. Firefighters attended because the alerts went off. The supervisors, the next of kin, and the 911 were called. And the firefighters arrived at the scene and immediately contained that spill. This one is a company's 3-year safety alert trend. Just goes to show that using the devices, they were actually able to totally ward out the emergency alert. Lots of time, what happens is that employees have some strike rate that they're not supposed to go to after 2 or 3 times. They're not supposed to go in the high gas area, so they stop wearing the devices. So it's like those are the times that they actually turn the device and leave it on the desk, but they're not using the device. So these kind of situations, this is exactly what happened. If you remember, I had spoken to you about this, that the supervisor, the potential no motion alert triggered Blackline Safety to actually call, and we found out that the device was just sitting there, but the worker wasn't there. So the insight actually triggered an internal review so that the supervisor's walk by was increased. They noticed that whenever there was a supervisor walk by during the session, that these kind of alerts were totally gone down. And this one is pertaining to the productivity report that I spoke about. It's like proactive workflow. Person hours were reduced from 1,100 to 100 because most of the time they were all sitting either in the smoke pit on the support areas. And this introduced a lot of workflow changes and determined efficiency and made sure that the work was actually on the productive scale. And finally, with all of our devices coming with a proactive range of protection and completion. So we have this pre-entry test in the pump testing. We have leaks checking devices. We have environmental conditions monitoring because we are going towards zero emissions. And then we have a simulator that actually simulates a fence monitor so that all of these bigger, huger industrial operations can all be maintained properly. So if we come for the takeaway, I'm sorry I took about 35 minutes, but I did skip a few slides in my benefit, I should say. So it can improve worker health, safety, and well-being, meet compliance, sustainability goals, basically saves life. I will take any questions you may have. Thank you. Yeah, hi.
Hi, so thank you for the talk. I'm just wondering, what is the best way that you try to minimize your error and false positives so that you don't call people out when there's really nothing going on and stuff? So
No, the device actually sends out an alert only when they are sustainable, exactly what the alert is supposed to be. If the device is dropped, then it will trigger an alert. Typically, what happens is it actually goes into an alarm state, what we call a yellow alert. So if the user picks it up, for example, if it just falls by mistake, it'll trigger an yellow alarm. And if the user picks it up and turns it off and says that it was a mistake, then it just goes away. But if the device is not picked up for a certain period of time, then it goes into a red alert situation. So we do know that it is totally a red alert. Yes. Any other questions? Okay. If there are no questions, thank you. I'll let you know.
Awesome. Oh yeah.